Do you know where your food comes from? When you go to the supermarket, you may think about it from time to time, but the complexity of where it comes from is associated with the agricultural belts of the U.S. Let's find out more about them. Agriculture is one of the oldest human endeavors. Around 11,000 years ago, humans began domesticating plants and animals, and eventually farming became more and more advanced. The United States has the largest agricultural economy in the world. Physically, the diverse climate of the nation allows for lots of different types of crops to be grown seasonally and year round. With that diversity comes unique farming belts. In this episode, we are going to explore those belts and describe what they produce and how they contribute to the foods we eat. Before we start, be sure to subscribe to my channel, Our World, Our Planet, Our Home, if you enjoy learning about geography and earth science. Now let's get started on the belts. The first belt is the Corn Belt. The Corn Belt is an area which stretches from Ohio to Iowa and produces corn crops. It is considered one of the most important agricultural belts in the United States because of how extensively corn is used. In terms of physical geography, corn grows the best in areas with fertile soil. The main type of soil in this area are what we call albasoils, which are soils that support many different types of crops. Climatically, corn grows the best in temperate areas with moderately long and warm growing seasons and adequate amounts of rain. Two types of corn are grown, one being field corn, which is used for livestock, and the other being sweet corn consumed by humans. Corn consumed by humans is a critical food as it's used widely, including as fresh corn, for cornmeal used in chips and cereals, cornstarch used as thickeners, corn oil used for frying, and corn syrup used as a sweetener. Other than corn being grown in this belt, other types of mixed farming are done here, one being soybean growing. In fact, Iowa and Illinois are first and second in the U.S. when it comes to soy crops, with some being used as ingredients internally within the nation and others being exported to East Asia. Another important belt in the U.S. is the Wheat Belt. Geographically, the Wheat Belt is located further west than the Corn Belt, in states including the Dakotas, Nebraska, Kansas, Oklahoma, and Colorado. Wheat is another staple crop used in many consumed foods, including breads, pasta, cereals, and certain processed foods. Physically, wheat can grow in a wide variety of soils and doesn't necessarily need as fertile soils as corn does. Also, wheat can grow in drier environments where rainfalls are below 30 inches a year, but above 20 inches. Other than wheat, crops such as oats and barley are grown within this belt. Oats are used in foods such as oatmeal, granola, and oat milk, while barley is used for baked goods, soups, and in alcoholic beverages such as beer. Next up is an area called the Cotton Belt. Unlike the first two crops, cotton is almost exclusively used in non-food ways, except for cottonseed oil, which is used for some cooking purposes. In terms of location, the Cotton Belt is within the southeastern and southern states, from Virginia to Texas. Texas produces most cotton out of all the U.S. states, but the other states within the Cotton Belt produce sizable amounts. Climatically, cotton requires a longer and warmer growing season to be grown, which is why it does well in the southern tier of the United States. When used for production, cotton is manufactured into many items, including clothing, home textiles such as for cloth linens for beds and curtains, cotton balls and swabs used for medical purposes, industrially such as for filters, and for firefighting gear as cotton has flame-resistant properties. For foods, refined cottonseed oil can be used as a frying agent for baked and fried goods, although this oil has a high amount of saturated fat, which can increase the risk of heart disease and obesity. Another belt within the northern tier of the U.S. is the Dairy Belt. The core of it is in Wisconsin and Minnesota, but a secondary area extends from Michigan and into the northeastern states of New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine. Dairy farming comes from the milking of animals, in the U.S. mostly from cows, sheep, and goat. After milked, it's produced into edible items such as milk, cheese, cream, butter, and ice cream. Wisconsin produces around 1/4 of all cheeses for the United States, and its culture is associated with that industry. In 2020, the U.S. dairy industry brought in $620 billion, a significant figure associated with the American agricultural sector. In Central California, there is a wide-scale agricultural area known as the San Joaquin Valley, a lowland which extends from east of the San Francisco Bay Area to Bakersfield. It's coined as one of America's vegetable belts, but also as a fruit and informally a jack-of-all farming areas. Climatically, the area is mild all year round, giving it a year-round growing season. One thing that made this area as productive as it is today is irrigation. In terms of precipitation, communities within the San Joaquin Valley get between 10 to 20 inches of rain a year, making the region a semi-arid to Mediterranean climate. With the introduction of irrigation from groundwater resources in the Sierra Nevada mountain snowmelt, the valley is very productive nowadays. But overpumping of groundwater aquifers has caused water shortages and a change in geomorphology, which has led to some parts of the valley sinking up to 10 meters. Agriculturally, vegetables such as lettuce, spinach, and asparagus are cultivated here. Fruits and nuts grown here include Mediterranean types such as citruses, almonds, walnuts, pistachios, and grapes. Wine grapes are grown here and support the booming wine vineyard industry in places such as Napa Valley and Sonoma. Other crops grown here include cotton, kiwis, and peaches. Out of the nation's agricultural belts, the San Joaquin Valley's vegetable belt is the most versatile. A crop that is used for many meals is potatoes. The potato belt is an area of the interior and northwestern U.S., including the states of Idaho and eastern Oregon and Washington. The climate of this area is semi-arid continental, with warm to hot and dry summers and cool to wet winters. And the volcanic soils are extremely fertile with lots of nutrients, making potatoes grow well here. Idaho, known as the potato state, produces the most potatoes out of any U.S. state. Potatoes are nutrient dense and have high amounts of carbohydrates while being affordable, so many Americans buy them and use them in foods, often as a side dish. Lastly, another belt is the grazing belt, where livestock eat grasses on vast lands located within the west central United States. The three biggest grazing states are Texas, which is well known for the beef industry, Montana, and Wyoming. In the U.S., animals that mostly graze are cattle, but sheep and goats do too. For the cattle, when they've grazed long enough, they're rounded up and brought to a slaughterhouse where they're killed and then butchered into beef. Baby sheep, who are lambs, also meet the same fate and are prized for their tender meat. The total value of the beef industry in the U.S. is $68 billion. Many Americans eat beef, including steaks, prime rib, filet mignon, roast beef, and other beef dishes. The American agricultural sector will continue to produce a vast amount of food for the nation. Throughout the 21st century, this industry will see changes, as some agricultural sectors will see a rise in demand and others will see a decrease. Pretty much, modern farming is a business. Thanks again for watching this episode. If you'd like to leave a comment, please do so in the comment section below. And be sure to subscribe if you enjoy learning about geography and earth science. Until next time!